What if I told you the very first flood story didn't come from the Bible or Mesopotamia, but from an ancient fish, a golden one that spoke to a king and saved all of creation? Long before Noah's Ark, before Atlantis, before Gilgamesh carved his tail into stone, there was Matsya, the first avatar of Lord Vishnu, a divine fish who knew the end was coming. And this is where the mystery begins. In Hindu mythology, time isn't a straight line. It moves in cycles, like the tides, like the moon. Every age rises and falls, and when darkness outweighs light, when greed drowns out compassion, the universe resets. This is one of those times. The world had lost its balance. Dharma, the law of truth and harmony, was forgotten. People turned to violence. Nature rebelled. Even the gods turned their faces away. Except one, Vishnu, the preserver. And his next move was not to fight, not to punish, but to become a fish. On Earth, a noble king named Manu lived by the river. One morning, as he cupped water in prayer, a tiny fish slipped into his palms, golden, glowing. And then it spoke. "Protect me, O king, and I shall protect you." Manu, stunned but intrigued, placed the fish in a pot. But the next day, it had doubled in size. So he moved it to a tank, then a pond, then a river. Still, it kept growing. Finally, Manu took it to the ocean. And there, the fish revealed its true form. "I am Matsya, the first form of Vishnu. A great flood is coming, one that will wash away this world, but you must survive." Matsya told Manu to build an ark. "Take the 7 sages, the seeds of all plants, pairs of every living creature. You are the thread that must pass through the needle of time." Manu obeyed. And then, the sky fell, rain like knives, tsunamis that swallowed mountains, thunder that cracked the heavens open. The flood had begun, but Matsya returned, a giant golden fish with a horn on his head, divine and radiant. Manu tied his ark to Matsya's horn, using the serpent Vasuki as the rope. Through black water and endless night, Matsya guided them to safety. After days of silence and storm, the ark rested on Mount Hemavan, a sacred peak untouched by water. There, before vanishing into the depths, Matsya gave Manu the laws of life, guidance to rebuild the world with wisdom. These teachings became the Manu Smriti, the ancient Indian code of ethics, values, and justice. A new world began, but the memory of the flood endured. But here's where it gets strange. This isn't the only flood myth. In Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh tells of Utnapishtim, who survived a God-sent flood by building a boat. In the Bible, Noah builds an ark and rides out the wrath of God. In Greek mythology, Deucalion and Pyrrha survive a great flood sent by Zeus. The Aztecs speak of a massive deluge that destroyed the world, with only 2 survivors sheltered inside a giant cypress tree. The Chinese speak of Yu the Great, who tamed a terrible flood sent by the heavens. Even Aboriginal Australians and Pacific Islanders have stories of oceans rising, swallowing land, and sparing only a chosen few. These myths are scattered across continents, across languages, across time. And yet, they all sound eerily similar. A flood, a warning, a chosen survivor, a chance to begin again. So now we ask, how? How can cultures oceans apart, who had never met, share the same core story? Were these metaphors for moral collapse and spiritual rebirth? Or were they all describing the same event? A real prehistoric flood that left echoes in every civilization? If so, whose story came first? Was it Noah, Gilgamesh, Deucalion, or was it Matsya? Some scholars believe Matsya's tale, found in ancient Sanskrit texts, predates all others by centuries, maybe even millennia. But truth has a strange way of traveling, shifting like waves over time. So we're left with a question that has no easy answer. Were all these cultures telling the same ancient memory in different languages? And if they were, then who first heard the whisper of the flood? So the next time you hear of a flood that changed the world, remember the golden fish, the king who listened, and the divine plan to carry life through the storm. Because sometimes the oldest stories hide the deepest truths, and sometimes a fish can change the course of time.